I'd like to welcome y'all back to another episode of Beyond the Fear podcast, a place where y'all come for inspiration, motivation, uplifting, encouragement, and just an overall positive word. I'm your host, DJ, and today's episode was inspired by a conversation I was having with one of my homegirls. I want to shout out Dee Dee for, giving me a lot of inspiration for this video. But we were just kind of talking about how we get in our own way, of our success. And like one of the things that we are afraid to do is just moving away from family, from friends, or from what we know, or as my mom would like to call it, expanding our territory. And that's something that I can relate to because even when I moved away, you know, it was a scary thing. I mean, I had a job, I had a place to stay, and all that. And I was still like, even the up to the very day, including the very day that I moved, it was just nerve wracking. I was, all I wanted to do, I was just hoping that, there was a part of me that was hoping something happens to where I didn't get the job, even though I already had the job, but just the job will fall through so that I can just because I'm just used to being I was so used to being at home. I was so used to being around friends and family. I was used to being where I am. And as we all know, because I've talked about it before, my comfort zone. So, I'm going way out of my comfort zone, to go to not just a new city, but a new state where I really don't know anybody. There's no, and so it was definitely a big change for me. And I definitely was getting in my own way, even during the process of finding a job, because even there was jobs that were good that I could do, but I'm just kind of like in the back of my head, my comfort zone, not making any excuses for myself, but I was sabotaging myself because there was jobs that I wouldn't apply for. There were jobs that, I wouldn't call back or they would call me and I was just kind of messing up on some if the phone interviews and things like that, or if they wanted to schedule me to be an in-person interview, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't go. So, what I'm saying? I was just sabotaging myself. But the issue was I also didn't have a job here. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a job. So I was running out of money. So it just kind of got to a point where it was like, okay, it's time to either nut up or shut up. So I had to do what I had to do. And finally, I took a trip out there. I took a trip out to Houston to do an interview for a job. I had told the guy what I was expecting to get paid. And he was like, no problem. Well, we should be able to do that. So I get out there, drive drive to the place, drive all the way to Houston, do the interview, just for them to tell me a totally different position than what I went in there for, and a totally different pay what I um than what I told them that I wanted. So I left that interview disappointed, upset, hurt, all of this stuff. So in my mind, I'm like, man, I'm gonna go back home. I'm finna find me a job somewhere, man, or I'm finna be calling like Home Depot or something to see if I can get my job back at Home Depot. But I'm through with this. I'm not finna do this. Literally on my way back to the house, back to my grandfather's house, I got a email about another job that was literally right around the corner from their house. So I'm like, okay, let me go try that one out. So go in there, do a great job, but I guess what I wanted or what I was asking for was more than the position offered. So, I left there kind of feeling like, yeah, they're not going to call me back. Of course, they tell you the whole, we'll call you and all of this stuff. So I'm like, all right, but I didn't feel good about it. So again, coming back to their house, I was just like, I don't, I don't see this working out. So I'm gonna just go ahead and go back home, try to find me a job. Literally the day, the next day, I was I was getting ready to leave, and I got a call from a job that I had applied for a while ago. I forgot all about it. Got a call, and the guy was like, "Hey, are you still interested in this position?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm still interested." And he was like, "Well, can you come in and do an interview tomorrow at 10?" I was like, "Yeah, I can do that." So ended up staying an extra day, going, doing the interview. Interview went well, got the job, so now I'm excited, right? I'm excited that I got the job, but on the drive home, it's kind of like, wow. They told me to come. They told me, I think I had like 2 weeks before I started or something along those lines. It wasn't like a crazy amount of time, but I remember it was September 13th. That was my start date. I do remember my start date. So yeah, so as I'm driving back home, I'm like, wow, like this is it. I'm really finna do this. And so it was just mixed emotions. Like on one emotion, it was like I came here for a job. I came here to get this job, but then I got a job that's paying me a lot more, and it's more what I like to do, or what I'm more of what I'm comfortable doing. And so, you know what I'm saying? So I felt accomplished. I felt, good. Like I came here to do something and I did it. But then on the other side of it, it was, now my world is finna get turned upside down, because now I'm finna start doing something. I'm about to make this transition, this big transition. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm used to having my family and friends around. I'm used to, being able to go hang with people. And it's just like, nah, we're not going to be able to do that, at least not every single day or whatever. So it was definitely it was definitely a mental battle that I was having, because on one hand, I'm happy for the opportunity to be trying something new, going to a new place, expanding, new opportunities. So there's a lot of potential. But on the other hand, it's like you leaving your comfort zone, you're leaving what you know. And as I've talked about on here before, we all know how in love and how attached I was to my comfort zone. So that ride home, it was a very quiet ride home. It was a lot of thinking. It was a lot of battles. There was a lot of pros and cons going on there. And I mean, and even for those 2 weeks leading up to it, I was doing my best not to think about it, up until the day that they sent me an email saying, "Hey, we got a lot of paperwork for you to sign, a lot of things for you to do." And this was literally either the day before I left, or 2 days before I left. So me and my girlfriend at the time, I had to go to um I think Office Depot. I had to go somewhere and get some printer ink so we could start printing out all my pages, all my paperwork, so I could sign all my stuff, and you know what I'm saying, do like pictures of my ID front and back, all of that stuff. So for them, for their records when I go, you know what I'm saying. And so even in that moment, it was just kind of like a surreal moment for me, because I'm still thinking like, on one hand, I'm happy, I'm getting paid. I'm about to get paid more than I've ever got paid for a job. So, but that was one of the reasons, that was one of the moments when I realized, okay, money doesn't equal happiness when it comes, for me. I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but for me, when it comes to work, because this job was about to pay me more money than I've ever made before. And I wasn't excited. Part of me wasn't excited. Part of me was, but it wasn't like okay, yeah, let's go, you know what I'm saying? Because you always think, well, at least I always thought, once job started offering me this and that, well, I'm gonna be excited. I'm gonna be ready to go. And it's like, this job is offered it to me, and signed, sealed, delivered. It's right there for me. And I still have my doubts, because it's making me get out of my comfort zone. I was just so attached to my comfort zone that anything, no matter how good it may have been, making me get out of it was nerve wracking. So I'm just going back and forth, right? And I mean, everybody's excited for me. And don't get me wrong, there's a part of me that is genuinely excited. Probably most of me, probably about 70, 80% of me is genuinely excited and ready, pumped to go. Like, you know what I'm saying? I want this. But it was that last little 20 to 30% that was just like, yeah, but you leaving everything that you know. You leaving this, you know what I'm saying? We've loved this. This has been easy for us. And it's just kind of like, that comfort zone don't allow you to grow. So the comfort zone, in that comfort zone, you're not thinking about growth. You're not thinking about growing. You're not thinking about expanding. It's not about, bettering yourself and all of that stuff. It's just about staying in this box, staying in this cage. And so, now that I'm getting ready to go out this cage, of course, that part of me that's attached to my comfort zone is just like, what if this don't work out? What if that don't work out? What if this, that, and then I'm staying with my grandparents who I don't really know at the time. So that was another thing, what I'm saying? Because this is who I'm going to be living with, but I didn't know them, never really met them outside of when I had just taken that trip and did those interviews. So I've only met them once. And so it was just a lot of nerves, a lot of stress, a lot of things I was just allowing a lot of doubt and fear to creep into my head. But but I am thankful that I didn't allow that stuff, all of that to stop me. I didn't allow all that stuff to make me find a job back home and just say, forget the job in Houston. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad I didn't allow that to happen. But and the reason why I say that is because it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. You know what I'm saying? Was taking that trip, making that trip, moving, going and doing those interviews, getting that job, getting out there and getting giving Houston a chance. It was one of the best decisions that I've ever made. Unfortunately, some things happened where I had to move back home, but that is my goal, to get back out there. That was easily one of the best decisions that I've ever made, and I'm definitely working to get myself back out there. And but I say all of that to say, we get in our own ways. We get in the way of our own success. And one of the things that we do is we allow our fears to stop us from growing, or we allow our comfort zones to allow us to make decisions that keep us from growing. What you looking for, what you're trying to be, what you're trying to accomplish, you might not be able to do that in the city where you are. You may have to move to other places. You might have to move to other states. You may have to move, just around to a whole nother coast. You might have to move from the north to the south. Who knows what it is, but you might have to move. But we got to quit allowing our comfort zone and our fears of new things we've never tried before, or having to be on our own for a little while. You know what I'm saying? We got to stop allowing those things to stop us from growing, stop us from going after the things that we want to go after. And I'm just talking to y'all from experience of how I understand how scary it is to do something new, to try to move somewhere. Now, granted, I didn't move somewhere completely new where I didn't know. Well, I did move somewhere completely new, but I didn't move with a situation where I had nobody. Granted, I still had my grandparents, so I do get it. I can't speak to the part of no going somewhere and you have nobody, absolutely nobody, but I can at least speak to not having anybody that you know personally, because I didn't really know them. So there was discomfort there. And obviously outside of them, I didn't know anybody out there. But man, if you accept it, it gets easy. You know what I'm saying? Because you make friends. Well, I made friends pretty quickly, you know what I'm saying? But that's also a part of my personality. Like, once I accept something, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't really explain it. But I love to laugh. I love to smile. I love making people laugh. I love making people smile. So for me, once I get to a place and I kind of find my way, because the first couple of days I'm kind of just quiet, looking, trying to figure everything out, trying to figure my new environment out, the way things work, how things move. But once I get comfortable and I get to start to let my guard down a little bit, and I just get to show more of my personality, you know what I'm saying? My thing is, I just like to laugh. I love to laugh. I love making people laugh. I love making myself laugh, and just enjoy having a good time. So it's easy for me to start talking and meeting new people, and you know what I'm saying, really just creating bonds at the job. That happened pretty quickly, but it took me some time. But as I was saying, it was definitely worth it. The trip was worth it. Taking the job was worth it. Everything was worth it because there was so many. What I realized that there was so many opportunities out there. You know what I'm saying? And it was so big. And for me, it just kind of opened my eyes to how small minded I was being and how small my world truly is. I'm from Biloxi, Mississippi. So moving out there to Houston really showed me how huge the world is. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we talk about it. And of course, you do know how big the world is, but it's totally different when you get out there and you really big city living for the first time. And I don't mean just vacationing there, but I mean literally your every single day for a year and a half is like big city living. It's a total difference. You know what I'm saying? Because where I'm from, Walmart is just a small example of that. Where I'm from, Walmart is the big go-to, or at least one of the big go-to stores. Out there in Houston, I wasn't even thinking about Walmart. I'm going to HEB. I'm going to Kroger. I'm trying out Aldi's. I'm saying, just going to different stores, and Walmart was like the last thing on my mind. And then when I come back home, it's like Walmart is your main option, and it's just kind of like, yeah. And it just kind of got to the point to where it was like, yeah, I'm ready to go back to Houston. I gotta go back to Houston. And so for me, I'm so thankful that I didn't let my fears and my comfort zone stop me from making what now I know was probably the best decision that I've ever made in my life, because it showed me so much. It showed me how many opportunities, how different the opportunities are out there. You know what I'm saying? How much for the people who are big on it. And I'm not saying I'm not big on it, I'm just saying it doesn't mean as much as it used to mean to me. For the people big on the money, it's money out there. It's just a lot of opportunities, a lot of the things that would normally happen for me where I'm from in Biloxi, Mississippi, can easily happen for me out there. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that's just an example of how I was getting in my way and I was continuing to block, good things coming my way because I was so closed minded, because I was so closed off to the idea of leaving my comfort zone. I was so against going against, what I was used to in my normal routine and things like that, that I was letting great opportunities slip out my hands or whatever. And so when me and my homegirl were having this conversation, it was like, man, I can relate, because I was doing the same thing to myself. I made a job search that I don't even know how long I was doing it. Probably almost a year. I would probably say like around 10 months looking for a job out there in Houston. And the reason why it expanded or it took so long was really because of me, because again, there were potential opportunities for me to do it sooner. But you know what I'm saying? Because of the fear of something new, the fear of just going to places I didn't know, and then going by myself. You know what I'm saying? Of course, if you're going with someone else, it'll make you feel a little better. But when you got to go by yourself, when you got to blaze that trail by yourself, especially a new trail that you've never blazed before, it's all scary. It makes it even more scary. So you know what I'm saying? So I was just putting so much doubt in myself, so much disbelief in myself, and I just had to get past that. I had to get past the fear. I had to get past the doubt. And you know what I'm saying? And I guess that's an even more reason. And I never thought about my trip, me moving to Houston as one of those moments where I conquered my fear. I only talk about when I decided to do the podcast, but I guess another big moment for me was when I chose to move to Houston, because there was a lot of fear. There was a lot of things in me that were holding me back. And so now that I've done it and I've had to come back, those doubts aren't there anymore. Now I'm pushing to get out there. Now I'm trying to find a job and I'm trying to I would love for an opportunity or one of these places to call me, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely a different mindset because obviously it's not new to me anymore. It's something that I know I can do. It's something that I know that I want. It's something that yes, um it's out of my comfort zone, but what I'm realizing is now that my comfort zone is breaking down. I'm not gonna sit here and act like it's not there. It's just not as strong of a border as it used to be. It's not as rigid of a cage as it used to be. Now there's a lot more bend, a lot more stretch to the cage. And so now I'm able to leave that. Now it's easier for me to leave on my comfort zone because I can see past my comfort zone to see the opportunities that certain things hold. So even with my job that I have now, I'm trying to get into other things. I'm looking into trying to find if there's some opportunities to cross train with other departments that I know could help me, that could look good on my resume. So it's definitely, all of these experiences have opened my eyes to being able to get out of my comfort zone and learn something new, something that can help me in the future. You know what I'm saying? So I'm doing my best now to not hinder myself because it's something new. It's something that I've never tried. So my normal reaction would be, "No, I'm good. I'm not going to try it." But now I'm also taking the time to genuinely think, can that help me in some way? Can that put me in a better position? Because for me, everything is about trying to get out there to Houston. So if I can start learning some things about this process or going and learning some things from this department, and I can start putting these things into my resume and making my resume look a little better, will that help me land this job, land that job, get this opportunity? And so for me, everything that comes across my desk, everything that comes into an email or somebody talks about an opportunity, I'm weighing it now, because before I would have been like, nah, I like this job. It's a pretty cool job. But I'm realizing that, okay, it being a cool job isn't getting me anywhere. It being a cool job isn't helping me build my resume. It's not helping me build experience and new things that can open up new doors for me. So now I need to start talking to people about, in different departments, about new experiences, new opportunities where I can just shadow people, where I can find mentors in different departments so that my knowledge base can grow and I can start expanding my search to new positions or into new fields that I've never even thought I would be interested in. And it's just so crazy that my desire to get back out there is also helping me get out of my comfort zone when it comes to work. It's helping me reach out to new departments, to about trying to figure out new information, get new experience in new departments and things like that. So it's definitely crazy. That's another reason why I say it was one of the best decisions that I've ever made, because it's helped me grow as a person when I had just been stifled for so long and I had just stopped moving and I had been so stagnant for years. And Houston was exactly what I needed to give me that jolt of energy to just go out and try new things. And again, I'm not saying that it happened instantly, because even in Houston, there was still a part of me, a huge part of me, a strong part of me that wanted to just stay at home. I didn't want to explore the city. I mean, if somebody told me about a good burger spot, then I would just try it. Or if they told me it was just food, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna overthink this. If they told me like this place got some good Chinese food, or this place got good burgers, or this place got good seafood, then it's like, okay, I'll go there. But as far as like, um, just going somewhere just to have fun, have a good time, I wasn't really I wasn't really doing all of that. But if they said something about some good food or something, and I'll be willing to try that. It wasn't really until my girlfriend at the time moved out there. I got my place and then she moved out there, that she got me to explore a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? But I took it for granted, you know what I'm saying? My mind was like, oh, Houston's here. Houston's not going anywhere. We can explore another time. We can try it another time. And it didn't have, everything just kind of fell apart. Now, granted, Houston is still there, but what I'm saying is, in that moment, I didn't take those opportunities. I didn't see them as the precious moments. I didn't appreciate the presence, like, you know what I'm saying? How they say enjoy the present. And I wasn't doing that. I was just kind of pushing things off, like, oh, we can do that another day, or we can do that next week or next month or my next day off, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And knowing that my next day off would turn into my next day off and so on and so forth. So I was just taking for granted that we were going to be out there in Houston for years to come and we would have time to do this and to do that. And so now that I realized that that's not the case. You never know. So when I do, not if, but when I do get back out there, I'm going to enjoy it. And if there's places that I want to go, I'm going to go, even if I am a little tired from work, whatever the case may be, I'm going to go because I'm going to appreciate it because I know what it feels like to have that and then to have it taken away from you. And it's a horrible feeling, especially when you know that you were a part of why it's gone and, and you took it for granted when you had it. So I definitely appreciate the moments, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate everything. So even, for example, like even my job that I have now, I may not love it, but I do appreciate it because I know what it's like not to have a job. I know what it's like not to have money coming in. I know what it's like to have your bills piling up and having your stress pile up and you know what I'm saying, making yourself sick because of that stress. So I know what these things are like. So I do appreciate having a job, even if it's not the job that I want. It's not my quote unquote dream job, but it's helping me pay my bills. It's helping me do everything that I need to do so that I can get to where I want to get to. So for me, man, moving to Houston taught me a lot of things. And even having to come back from Houston taught me a lot of things. And one of the biggest things is just appreciate where you are. You know what I'm saying? Stop taking things for granted. If you live somewhere nice, stop taking that for granted. If you got a good job, stop taking that for granted. Even if there are things about your job you don't like, is number one, is better than having no job. And number two, more than likely, there are worse jobs to have. So, you know what I'm saying? Just try to always keep certain things in perspective and understand that, yeah, it may suck and you may not like where you are or whatever it is that you got going on, but just understand that, man, things could always be worse. You know what I'm saying? So even though I'm not doing what I want to do, I also know for a fact, because I've had worse jobs, that things could be worse. And I had a worse job and I was getting paid more than what I'm getting paid now. The job that led me to actually breaking out of my comfort zone and doing the podcast, I've talked about it several times, but that was probably one of the worst jobs I've ever had. And so I'm very thankful for this job. I'm very appreciative of my coworkers, very appreciative of my managers because they understand that I'm trying to do something, trying to make something happen. They may not know everything because I don't talk about everything, but they do understand, okay, I am trying to learn from different departments and, and they're doing their part to help me make that goal happen and dream happen. So I'm very appreciative, you know what I'm saying? I'm very thankful because again, I know what it's like not to have, or I know what it's like to have a job where they don't care about you and they're not trying to help you. So, man, my message for the day is, well, one of my messages for the day is just to be appreciative of where you are in life, especially if you've gotten yourself out of worse, you know what I'm saying, and you're in a better place now. Even if you're not where you want to be, if you're in a better place now, man, just be thankful for it, be appreciative for it, and keep moving, you know what I'm saying? Don't stop right here, you know what I'm saying? Just keep going, keep doing what you need to do to get to where you want to be. And my other message is stop allowing, your fears to stop you from getting to where you need to be. You might not be in the right place for your dreams to happen. You might not be in the right environment for your goals to happen. So understand that, You may have to move from where you are. You may have to change. You may need to change your scenery to get to where you want to be and do the things that you want to do. Don't be afraid of that new place. Don't be afraid of that new environment, because you might thrive in it. You might get that jolt of energy that you need to get motivated, to stay motivated, or just to be inspired. You might not even know what you want to do, and you might need a change of scenery to see things from a different perspective and realize, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to do this. So, you know what I'm saying? That new place might inspire you. That new city might inspire you. That new environment, the new cultures that you might be around might inspire you to go and find your calling or to find your purpose. You just never know. You know what I'm saying? You just got to keep an open mind to the idea of going somewhere else and finding finding yourself, finding who you are, finding what you want to do, your purpose, all those things somewhere else. Just don't be so close minded to the idea. And I understand how hard it is to leave your home, leave your family, leave your friends, leave, what I'm saying, your childhood, your birthplace behind. But sometimes you have to expand to find who you are. You know what I'm saying? When you keep yourself locked in this little bubble or in this cage, then obviously that's all you're going to know. But sometimes you have to broaden your view, and you know what I'm saying, just don't be scared of the idea of it. Don't be so closed minded to the idea of it. Don't let your comfort zone stop you from even imagining the chance of this and of that happening. So man, just stop getting in your own way and just think about it. You know what I'm saying? Just think about the idea of maybe trying something new, maybe going somewhere new. There may be a job opportunity that came your way and you've just been kind of hesitating to pull the trigger on it. But you know what I'm saying? Or you probably ain't even thinking about it whatsoever, but give it a chance. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying take the job, but I'm just saying really think about it. Really think, is this it? Because it might be exactly what you're missing. You know what I'm saying? It might be exactly what you need. You know what I'm saying? But you're not giving yourself, because it's so outside of your norm. You're not even giving it a chance to even be a possibility, because you're just so closed minded, and you know what I'm saying? You're stuck on, this is home. This is me. This is where I am. This is where I'm supposed to be. And maybe you're right, but what if you're wrong? You know what I'm saying? It's always about that what if, that small chance that you're wrong and this isn't where you're meant to be. You're meant to be somewhere else, but you're being so closed minded. So you know what I'm saying? Just think about that. But that's today's episode, y'all. As always, I want to thank everybody on the whatever platforms that you're listening on. I want to thank y'all for taking the time to listen, and everybody on YouTube. Y'all already know, please continue to watch, like, comment, subscribe, and share the podcast. And for everybody out there who are commenting on my videos and things like that, I thank y'all. I'm very appreciative for all the love that y'all show. And y'all have a blessed day.